These are the modern day waters of the South China Sea. But let's go back to the year 1404, when China's natural resources went from this to this. A time when China almost bankrupted itself, and a time when any ship with more than 2 masts were either banned or burned. Welcome on board the Ming treasure fleet in 1404. Here is Asia and Africa. This is Ming China, its capital Nanjing, and these are the many voyages of the Ming treasure fleets. So what's the story behind the treasure fleets anyway? Meet China's leader, the long-year emperor. Now his nephew was meant to become emperor, but mysteriously disappeared. Meaning now in power, the long-year emperor has a serious case of leadership anxiety. He wanted to make his mark on the nation and project China as a great power through his idea of boats. He didn't want to create an overseas empire in the way that Europeans would later do. Instead, the main focus would be on trade and diplomacy, with the idea that nations would look up to China as their mother country, and over time would assimilate into Chinese culture, customs, and laws. So to realise his ambitions, the long-year emperor turned to Zheng He. A few things about him. He's a Muslim, and he's a eunuch. He rose up the military ranks, gaining the emperor's trust, and as a Muslim, he was perfectly placed to conduct foreign diplomacy. So with great expense, work got started on making the huge treasure fleets. In purpose-built shipyards, 1 million Chinese were directly involved in making the ships. And from the very beginning, the fleet was quite controversial and not everyone agreed. But it went ahead anyway. And so the fleet set sail, with the main trade goods packed on board being fine silks, gold, porcelain and jade. In return, China would get diplomats, money and exotic strange animals such as this giraffe, which the Chinese thought was a mythical creature, a lucky sign from heaven, proof that the fleet has divine approval. So what to see within the Ming treasure fleet? Each voyage consisted of hundreds of ships, such as warships for troops, grain ships for food, horse ships for land transport, passenger ships for diplomats, and treasure ships for all that good stuff. The treasure ships were the largest ships of their day, measuring 50 metres by 125 metres, which dwarfed any regular ships. Each voyage was a massive undertaking and took years to complete. Some ships had plants and trees on board to grow their own food supplies. Some fleets had up to 30,000 soldiers to make sure diplomacy went in China's favour, and to shock and awe the locals into submission. The large treasure ships had enough cargo space to export goods all around the Indian Ocean for years. Each fleet, made up of between 250 to 300 ships, worked together as the ultimate symbol of China's expanding power. Plus, everywhere the fleet went, they would erect these stone markers for local populations to indicate just how amazing the Chinese are. But far from home, what if things went wrong? The Chinese had 4 options. 1. Drown and die. 2. Integrate with the locals. 3. Set up a new Chinese colony. Or 4. Walk back to China. And in the end, the whole endeavour ruined the Ming Chinese economy, depleted the country's natural resources, and it wasn't really worth all that time, effort and expense. The Chinese decided to end the treasure fleets, break up the boats, and burn most of the documents about the voyages. It would take years for China to recover. So what would you see on the Ming voyages? On the 3rd voyage, travel to Sri Lanka. Meet local kings who don't take too kindly to Chinese interference. Watch the treasure fleet invade, declare war, capture and bring those rebellious leaders back to China in chains. On the 4th voyage, you'll trip down to Sumatra, meet competing rulers and get embroiled in local politics. Pick a side to support and watch the treasure fleet invade. Then on the 5th voyage, travel to far off Africa, meet the local leaders and just invade already. So what are the final scores for the Ming treasure fleets? Just lots and lots of ships. It's getting a 1. So if you want a job where you travel the high seas for years on end, intimidate everyone you meet through military power, and all because you might discover a giraffe, then the Ming treasure fleets are the place for you.